I'm sorry, sir, but this card has been deactivated. Furthermore, your passport is currently flagged by Homeland Security in connection with a federal asset freeze. The voice from the customs officer at JFK's immigration gate was quiet, yet it carried an oppressive weight that silenced the area. The surrounding travelers' eyes snapped in my direction, their gazes like daggers piercing right through me. Kevin Johnson. I had just returned from a lavish honeymoon in Hawaii, and I glanced at my mistress, Jessica, standing beside me. Only a few hours ago, we were sipping champagne in first class, laughing about my dull and incompetent ex-wife. "It's our time to shine now," we'd toasted, cackling with glee. But the officer's ice-cold stare shattered my blissful afterglow into a million pieces. "This has to be a mistake," I protested, my voice rising. "I'm a director at a top tech firm. My salary is $250,000 a year. There's no way my card is declined." I tried to sound indignant, but the officer's expression remained unchanged. "No mistake, sir. We received a notification from the issuing bank regarding significant debt delinquency and suspected asset concealment. Also, there are some gentlemen from the FBI waiting to speak with you over there." He gestured towards a cordoned-off area where several men in dark suits watched us with grim, unblinking expressions. A cold sweat, the likes of which I'd never felt before, trickled down my spine. At that moment, I still hadn't grasped the truth. I couldn't comprehend the terrifying parting gift that my quiet, submissive ex-wife, Maya, the woman I had divorced and cast aside, had left buried in the foundations of my life. It all began just 2 months ago, with the words I had hurled at her. "Don't you dare think you can keep living this life on my dime. You useless stay-at-home wife. You're fired." I should have paid more attention to the strange, serene smile that graced her lips then. This was the story of how my glorious future, a future I believed I had secured, began to crumble with a deafening roar. It was the beginning of a living hell. Chapter 1. "Kevin, what is going on? The FBI? I'm not getting involved in this." Jessica, her voice now a shrill screech, violently pulled her arm from my grasp. "Calm down, Jess. It's just a misunderstanding. I'll call my lawyer right away," I blustered, trying to maintain a shred of composure. But my heart was hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. Why? Why were my cards frozen? Why were federal agents waiting for me at immigration? I was a model employee, a dutiful son. I had built a perfect life. I even made sure to send money to my parents in Ohio every single month, having Maya handle the wire transfers without fail. Kevin Johnson? A broad-shouldered man in a suit gripped my arm. "We need you to come with us. We have a few questions." "Get your hands off me!" "Do you know who I am?" "I'm a director at a major Manhattan tech firm." I struggled, and in that moment, my eyes caught a news ticker on one of the airport monitors. The headline scrolled across the screen. "NYC hedge fund raided by SEC for fraud. Asset concealment. Executives arrested." The moment I saw the name of the fund, my mind went blank. It was the company I was planning to join after ditching Maya. It was where I had parked my secret. Off-the-books money. No. Could it be her? Maya's face flashed in my mind. When she signed the divorce papers, she hadn't shed a tear or uttered a single word of protest. She had simply and calmly placed a single document in front of me. "I acknowledge and accept the new arrangements regarding financial support for your parents and all asset management." What, exactly, had Maya acknowledged? At that moment, I still couldn't have fathomed that when I finally understood the truth, my life would be utterly and completely over. Let's turn back the clock 2 months. I, Kevin Johnson, was convinced I was the king of my world. A director at a prestigious tech firm in Manhattan with a $250,000 salary. I was proud of my sharp features and even sharper suits. When I walked down the street, I believed everyone looked at me with envy. The only blemish on my perfect life was my wife, Maya. Maya was a plain woman. In our 10 years of marriage, she never dressed up, never asked to go to trendy restaurants. She just silently did her chores, "Welcome home, Kevin. I'll reheat dinner for you," she would say. The same words every single day. I was bored to death of her. A man as brilliant as me deserved a more glamorous woman. And then I met Jessica, a receptionist at a client's office. She was young, vibrant, and showered my status and money with endless praise. "You're so amazing, Kevin. A plain wife like Maya is such a waste for a man like you." Her sweet flattery inflated my ego to its bursting point. There was one other thing I was proud of: my devotion to my parents back in Ohio. I sent them $2,000 every month without fail. "Thank you, Kevin. We're so proud of you, son," my mother would say over the phone. And with every call, I felt a deep sense of my own virtue. Of course, it was Maya who handled the wire transfers and fielded the frequent calls from my parents asking for money for a new appliance or a car repair. One evening, I found Maya in the living room, balancing the household budget. I slapped an envelope down on the table in front of her. Inside were the divorce papers, already signed by me. What is this?" Maya asked, her voice a hoarse whisper. "It's exactly what it looks like. Divorce papers." "You're fired," I said, sinking into the sofa and crossing my legs, looking down on her. "Listen to me, Maya. For 10 years, you've lived a cushy life, 3 meals a day, all on my dime. But that contract ends today. I've found a new partner, Jessica. She's young, beautiful, and a much better fit for my life." Maya stared silently at the papers on the table. I pressed on. "You should be grateful for my charity. I supported a high school dropout with no marketable skills for a decade. I want you out by tomorrow. And don't even think about alimony. I'm not paying you a single cent. Consider the money you've wasted over the years as payment enough." Maya remained silent. Normally, a woman would be crying, begging, clinging to me. But she slowly lifted her head and looked me straight in the eye. There was no sadness, no anger, just a profound, empty void, like staring into a deep abyss. "I understand. Your wishes are perfectly clear, Kevin." "Humph. Glad you're not making a scene. Oh, and by the way, I'll be handling the money for my parents from now on. You are to have no more contact with them. Got it?" "Yes. Regarding the payments to your father-in-law and mother-in-law, I will cancel all the automatic transfers I set up, effective today. Is that acceptable?" I scoffed. "Of course it is. It's my money. Don't you dare tell me what to do with it." "Very well," she said, her voice even. "Then, as of this moment, I am resigning my position as the keeper of the Johnson family finances." With that, Maya stood up and disappeared into her room. At the time, I was oblivious to the terrifying truth hidden behind her words. Maya hadn't just been managing a simple household budget. She had been managing my entire life, my income, my assets, the true flow of money to my parents, and even the records of a certain side hustle I was running without my company's knowledge. The next day, Maya left with a single small suitcase, vanishing like the wind. I felt a wave of relief as I invited Jessica over, popping a bottle of expensive champagne to celebrate my newfound freedom. Haha. So that boring woman really just left? What an idiot. Jessica's laughter echoed through the living room. Yep. From now on, it's just us. We're going to Hawaii next month. I'll treat you to the best of everything with my money. I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app, ready to bask in the glow of my success by checking my account balance. I expected to see a healthy 6 figures, but the number that appeared on the screen made my heart stop. What is this? There, on the screen, was a number so shockingly small I thought it had to be a glitch. $5,000? What the hell? It's missing at least 2 zeros. My fingers trembled as I stared at the phone. My severance from my last job, bonuses, my personal investments I had been carefully growing there, should have been at least $500,000 in there, and it was all gone, except for a measly $5,000. Kevin, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. Should I open another bottle? Jessica cooed, snuggling up to me, but I had no patience for her now. Be quiet for a second! Was it a system error? No. Impossible. An image of that plain, supposedly incompetent woman, Maya, surfaced in my mind. It was her. She must have stolen my money as a final act of revenge. I immediately dialed the number of the woman who, until yesterday, had been my wife. After 3 rings, her calm voice came through the line. Hello? Can I help you, Kevin? Her composure sent me into a rage. Can you help me? Don't play dumb with me, you thief. Where is the $500,000 that's missing from my account? You'd better return it right now. Or I'm calling the police! You think a high school dropout like you can mess with my money and get away with it? My shouting filled the room. Jessica flinched, setting her glass down. But Maya, on the other end of the line, remained unnervingly calm. After a few seconds of silence, she spoke in a voice as cold as ice. Call the police? Please, feel free. But what evidence do you have that I stole anything? I simply followed your instructions and processed everything accordingly. Accordingly? My entire life savings is gone. You took advantage of me being busy at work and drained my accounts. No, she said flatly. I haven't withdrawn a single penny from your personal accounts. I have merely corrected the accounts to reflect their true state, after I stopped subsidizing them. Subsidizing? What are you talking about, Kevin? You always boasted about your $250,000 salary. Didn't you? Did you honestly not know that more than half of it was going towards paying off your father's gambling debts and your mother's luxury shopping sprees? Debts? What debts? I was just sending them money for support. Do you think $2,000 a month was enough? Your father has massive debts from Vegas, and your mother buys designer handbags like they're groceries. The bills for all of it were sent here, while you were out gallivanting, screaming, "My money is my money." Do you have any idea how many times I had to plead with creditors, using my own savings to cover the difference? There wasn't even anger in Maya's voice. She was simply stating facts. The money that was in your account vanished, paying the interest on those debts. Yesterday, when I stopped managing the payments, the magic spell was broken. I imagine your phone will be ringing off the hook any second now. Goodbye. Click. The dial tone was merciless. I stood frozen, clutching my phone. It can't be. Dad has gambling debts? Mom is a shopaholic? They always told me. We're saving every penny you send us, son. Just then, as if on cue, my phone vibrated violently. The caller ID read, Mom. I swiped to answer, clinging to a desperate hope. Mom? I just heard the craziest thing from Maya, but the voice on the other end wasn't my usual gentle mother. It was a panicked shriek. Kevin, what have you done? The bank just called. They said this month's loan payment is overdue. I tried calling Maya, but she won't answer. What is going on? You need to wire $30,000 right now, or they're going to foreclose on the house. $30,000? Right now? My mind went blank with panic. The account balance I just saw was only $5,000, and sitting right in front of me was my mistress, Jessica, eagerly awaiting her trip to Hawaii. Kevin? What's wrong? $30,000? Hey, we can still go to Hawaii, right? I already posted about it on Instagram. Jessica's eyes narrowed, glinting like a predator's. I was speechless, trapped in a paralyzing silence. The foundation of the elite life I had so carefully constructed was cracking beneath my feet. But this was only the beginning of the revenge Maya had orchestrated. A few days later, I summoned Maya to a noisy coffee shop near the train station. Ideally, this conversation would take place in a luxurious hotel lounge. But I no longer had that luxury. My mother was calling me every hour demanding money, and Jessica was threatening to break up with me if the Hawaii trip was canceled. Maya was already there, seated at a small table, wearing a simple white blouse and navy slacks. She looked as plain as ever, sipping her coffee. The sight of her peaceful composure made something inside me snap. Well, look at you, Maya. Not a care in the world, are there? I said, sitting down aggressively without even looking at the menu. Glaring at her, Maya slowly placed her cup on the saucer and met my gaze. "What can I do for you, Kevin? We're strangers now, remember? Strangers? Don't make me laugh. You're going to clean up this mess you made. My parents are in trouble. If they had debts, why didn't you tell me sooner? You were the one managing it. This is your mismanagement. And your negligence has cost me my savings. You're going to be responsible for paying it back." Maya's eyes widened in surprise for a moment, but her expression quickly returned to an emotionless mask. "I am going to pay it back? Kevin, have you ever once looked at a bank statement during our marriage? The notices for your father's debts? I left them on your desk every night, and every night you tore them up, shouting, 'Don't let me see this trash.'" "Shut up! I don't care about the past." I slammed my fist on the table, causing nearby customers to jump. "Listen to me, Maya. You're a high school dropout with no real-world experience. You think you can speak to me, a director at a top firm, as an equal? Your only value was doing chores and taking care of my parents. You were nothing more than a replaceable housekeeper." I continued my verbal assault, spewing the vilest things I could think of. "Look at Jessica. She's young, glamorous. Just having her by my side enhances my status. And you? You're a parasite who did nothing but eat my food and survive on the money I earned, a parasite that has now harmed its host. You will pay off my parents' debt in full, right now. Consider it repayment for the charity I've shown you all these years." Maya didn't say a word. She just stared at me, her eyes fixed on mine. She can't even argue. Just as I thought. This woman is nothing without me. Confident in my assessment, I pressed on. "Don't just sit there in silence. Say something. You can't even speak a second language. You have no professional certifications. Do you really think you can get a decent job after this divorce? The best you can hope for is stocking shelves at Walmart. If you get on your knees and beg for forgiveness right now, I might consider hiring you back as a live-in housekeeper to take care of my parents' mess." I mistook her silence for defeat. But Maya's silence was not born of fear. Her eyes were like those of a scientist observing a broken machine, cold, clinical, and tinged with something that looked like pity. "Kevin," she finally spoke, her voice surprisingly clear and powerful, cutting through the cafe's noise. "Let me correct one of your misconceptions. I am not a high school dropout. I did leave high school temporarily due to family circumstances, but I later earned my GED and graduated from college. And during all those nights you said I was doing nothing, I was actually working." "Huh! Working? What, putting stickers on envelopes for pennies? Don't make me laugh." "No, but I suppose you wouldn't believe anything I say right now," Maya said, taking a $10 bill from her purse and placing it on the table. "This is for the coffee, Kevin. You are about to find out just how small your world is, and how you have been acting like the emperor with no clothes. You'll soon understand. What did you say? Goodbye. Do not contact me ever again. This is my final act of kindness towards you." Maya stood up, her posture perfectly straight, and walked out of the cafe with a determined stride. Left behind, I clutched the $10 bill she'd left, my face burning with humiliation. Who the hell does she think she is? But at that moment, I had no way of knowing what her work was, and I had no idea that my life was about to tumble down a steep hill into complete and utter ruin. My phone started vibrating violently in my pocket again. This time it wasn't my mother. It was my father. "Kevin, is it true? A debt collector called your office looking for you?" Hearing the tremor in my father's voice, the blood drained from my face. When I returned to the office, I was met with a storm of cold stares. As soon as I sat at my desk, my colleague in the next cubicle leaned over and whispered, "Kevin, the head of HR has been looking for you. He said some weird guy has been calling nonstop, saying you won't answer your cell." My heart leaped into my throat. "Oh, just a small family issue. Nothing to worry about." I feigned nonchalance and headed to the HR department. But it wasn't just the HR manager waiting for me. My own boss, the vice president, was there too, looking like he'd bitten into a lemon. "Johnson," the VP began, his voice grim, "we need an explanation." He pushed a printed email across the desk. It was a copy of the loan agreement with my father's signature and my name listed as the guarantor. "What is this?" "We received a call from a debt collection agency. They said, 'Get Kevin Johnson on the phone. He promised to cover his father's debts.' Having these kinds of disruptive calls during business hours is a serious problem for the company." That was all my ex-wife's doing," I lied instinctively. "She took out loans without my knowledge and forged my name. Now that we're divorced, she's just trying to ruin my reputation. Is that so?" "Well, they claim to have legally binding documents. If this isn't resolved, it will impact your next performance review. And another thing, the new investment project you've been spearheading, the compliance department has put a hold on it. They found irregularities in the flow of funds." "No!" My vision swam. That investment project was my secret side hustle, the source of my hidden slush fund. How could everything fall apart the moment Maya stopped managing things? Back at my desk, a text from Jessica popped up. "Kevin, I booked the flights and hotel for Hawaii. I had to put it on my card for now, but you need to transfer the payment to my account today. If you don't do it soon, we'll get hit with cancellation fees, so hurry up." With a trembling hand, I called her. "Jess, listen, could we maybe postpone Hawaii for a bit? Things are just really crazy at work right now." "What? Are you kidding me? I've already told all my friends that my fiancé is taking me to Hawaii in first class. If I cancel now, it'll be a total humiliation. You're not going to ruin my image." Her voice was no longer the sweet, cute tone I was used to. It was hard and demanding. "Don't tell me you don't have the money. You're an elite director with a $250,000 salary, right? My dad even said you were a promising young executive. If you cheap out on me now, I'll tell him, and he can make your life at work even more difficult." Jessica's father was a senior executive at one of our most important client companies. Losing her favor meant losing my only remaining shield at work. I was trapped. My parents' debt, the investigation at work, and Jessica's arrogant demands. Okay. I get it. We're going to Hawaii. I'll pay for everything." "That's more like it, Kevin. I love you," she chirped, her tone instantly sweet again. As I hung up, I wiped the cold sweat from my brow. I had no savings, but I still had my credit cards and their high limits. I could go to Hawaii, and in the meantime, figure out a way to fix this mess. I could fudge some documents to clear up the suspicion at work. That's right. I'm one of the chosen ones. I can't fail here. I tried to reassure myself, my thoughts turning back to Maya. That high school dropout, all this trouble is her fault. If she had just kept her mouth shut and managed my money like she was supposed to, none of this would have happened. I redirected my anger towards her, using contempt as a shield against the terrifying feeling of the ground crumbling beneath me. Just then, I saw an unfamiliar, impeccably dressed man at the entrance to our office. He wore a sharp, expensive suit and stylish glasses, and he walked directly towards my VP's office. "Excuse me. I am here today as a representative of our firm's president." A murmur went through the department. "President? President of what company?" My VP scrambled to his feet, bowing slightly to greet the man. Welcome. It's an honor to have someone from the nation's leading asset management firm, MV. Consulting." The moment I heard that name, MV, my heart gave a sickening lurch. No way. It can't be. That uneducated, incompetent woman couldn't possibly be connected to a top-tier firm like that. But the man scanned the room, and his eyes met mine. He gave a cold, thin smile and bowed slightly. "Mr. Kevin Johnson, Miss Vance has told me all about you." His voice cut through my silence, echoing through the office. "I'm here to discuss your true financial situation. Miss Vance has told me all about you," he had said. I couldn't believe my ears. In the middle of the office, my VP was wiping sweat from his brow, bowing deeply to this man. The man introduced himself as Mr. Sterling, a senior partner at MV Consulting, a notoriously private but immensely successful firm known for its incredible returns. This is ridiculous. I don't know what that company is, but she's just a high school dropout. I pushed past my VP, getting in Sterling's face. Maya is a timid, incompetent woman who couldn't even leave the house without me. Her being connected to a consulting firm? It's a mistake. Or maybe she paid you to come here and put on this act. Mr. Sterling looked back at me, not even bothering to hide his contempt. Mr. Johnson, you are exactly as Miss Vance described. He is a pitiable man who only sees what he wants to see. She said, "What did you say?" For the last 10 years, Miss Vance has been operating under her maiden name, Maya Vance. She is the one who single-handedly saved her family's business from bankruptcy with her prodigious talent for investment. The period you mock as her being a dropout was merely a temporary leave she took from her education to support her family. Sterling held up a tablet and showed me the screen. On it were articles from Forbes and the Wall Street Journal, featuring a legendary private investor. And there she was, Maya, without her glasses, smiling with a poised and confident expression. Her professional name was M.V., a specialist in asset management, a legend in the industry. This is a lie. She was at home every day, waiting for me to come home from work. She was working from home, managing a global portfolio of clients, Sterling said coolly, while you were lording over her, claiming you were letting her eat off your earnings. She was generating profits 10 times your annual salary in a single night. My knees began to buckle. The curious, gossiping stares of my colleagues felt like physical blows. And that's not all, Mr. Johnson. Those high-praise performance reports you submitted at work? She rewrote all of them. The analytics, the market projections, all her work. I was stunned. I used to give Maya my rough drafts, telling her to organize my thoughts. I thought I was just delegating a menial task, but in reality, she was using her professional expertise to transform my mediocre work into something brilliant. What I had believed to be my own talent was nothing but a handout from Maya. And the $500,000 you called your savings? That was money she had invested and grown as part of your shared marital assets. However, during the divorce, you explicitly stated you would not pay a single cent of alimony. Furthermore, you berated her for mismanagement. Sterling's voice grew lower, sharper. Miss Vance took your words as a formal rejection of all financial gifts. Naturally, the profits she had generated out of goodwill were transferred back to her personal accounts. The $5,000 remaining in your account is the only asset you legitimately earned and saved on your own. Wait, that's not fair. What isn't fair, Mr. Johnson? She was also paying off your parents' massive debts from her own earnings. She did all of this without a word of thanks from you, until you brought your mistress into her home, called her a housekeeper, and threw her out. Sterling pulled an envelope from his jacket and slapped it against my chest. This is a final message from Miss Vance. I suggest you read it carefully. It contains evidence related to your side hustle and a notice of impending legal action. Side hustle? The matter of you accepting illegal kickbacks from an investment fund, which you hid from this company. She knew everything. As your wife, she was waiting, hoping you would come clean on your own. But you repaid her kindness with the most brutal form of betrayal. My VP, his face a mask of fury, grabbed my shoulder. Johnson, is what he said true? Were you defrauding the company? No, it's not true. This is all a story she made up, but Sterling cut me off coldly. All the evidence has already been submitted to the SEC and the IRS. Mr. Johnson, you are about to lose everything. Your money, your job, your reputation, and even the mistress you thought was your ticket to a new life. After Sterling left, a heavy, oppressive silence fell over the office. With trembling hands, I opened the envelope. Inside was not only a detailed record of all my illicit activities, but also a single sheet of fine stationery. On it, In Maya's elegant handwriting was a single sentence. Sweet dreams, Kevin. May you rest in peace with the illusion you loved so much. Your status. I would soon learn the true meaning of those words. My phone screen lit up again with an incoming call from Jessica, but next to the notification, a breaking news headline appeared. And this time, I truly lost all strength and collapsed to the floor. The headline flashing on my phone screen was the final nail in my coffin. Manhattan hedge fund raided for wire fraud. Managers taken into custody. The name of the firm was the very one where I had stashed all my dirty kickback money. No, it can't be. All my black money is in there. I grabbed the edge of my desk, unable to stop my legs from shaking. If that fund went under, I would never see a cent of that off-the-books cash again. Worse, if my name was on their client list, I would undoubtedly become a target of the federal investigation. Johnson. My VP's low voice echoed in the silent office. It seems what that man said was true. He snatched the letter from my hand and read Maya's note. Violation of company policy on outside business activities, accepting illegal kickbacks from a vendor. This is more than just a termination for cause. We'll have to consider pressing charges for embezzlement. Wait, sir, please. I was set up. My ex-wife was the one who said it was a good investment. Are you still blaming someone else? You have no shame, Johnson. The VP's roar made me flinch. Pack your things. You're not to come back here tomorrow, and your computer and all files at your desk will be confiscated by internal audit. If you want to prove your innocence, you can do it in court. It was a de facto firing, a dismissal for misconduct so severe it would make it impossible to find another job in the industry. I stumbled out of the office in a daze. When the elevator doors opened on the ground floor, Jessica was standing there as if she'd been waiting for me. The moment she saw my face, she rushed at me, her expression furious. Kevin! What the hell is going on? The feds showed up at my dad's company. They were asking about you. Jessica, calm down. It's a really bad situation. A bad situation for me. My dad is furious. He's yelling at me. How could you get involved with a low-life con artist? I raised you better than this. He said if I don't break off the engagement immediately, he's cutting me off. Jessica grabbed my arm, shaking me violently. You have the money, right? The money for Hawaii? It's non-refundable. I put it on my card. You need to pay me back in cash, right now. I don't have any money. All I have is $5,000 in my account. I managed to choke out. Jessica's expression instantly froze. $5,000? Weren't you the elite director making $250,000 a year? That was only because Maya was managing everything. Don't you dare! She screamed, slapping me hard across the face. You pathetic broke loser! The mouth that had once praised me as amazing now spewed insults far worse than any I had ever directed at Maya. Did you really think anyone would date a hollow man like you? I only put up with you for your money and status. Fine. The cancellation fees for Hawaii. You'd better sell whatever you own to pay me back. Jessica spat the words, stomped on my foot with her heel, and stormed away. I was left alone, standing at the entrance to the building where I used to work. I had lost my job, my money, and my mistress in a single afternoon. But my misfortune wasn't over. My phone vibrated again. This time, it was my father. Kevin, it's over. The collectors are here. They said since they can't reach you, they're going to start taking our furniture. Your mother collapsed from the shock. They just took her to the hospital in an ambulance. Dad, no, it can't be. Where's Maya? She can fix this. You need to apologize to her. Get on your knees and beg her to come back and pay this off. It's no use, Dad. Maya doesn't care about us anymore. I hung up and collapsed onto the bustling city sidewalk. But in my despair, a wicked idea formed in my mind. It's not over yet. My credit cards? They shouldn't be frozen yet. I could max out the cash advances, use the Hawaii tickets Jessica had booked, and escape the country for a while. Yes, if I could get overseas, maybe the authorities couldn't reach me. I could hit a casino, win big, and turn it all around. It was the delusional thinking of a cornered man. I staggered to my feet and started walking towards the nearest ATM. Meanwhile, in a luxurious suite at a 5-star hotel downtown, Maya was enjoying a quiet afternoon tea. In front of her was a report prepared by Mr. Sterling, detailing Kevin Johnson's every move. It appears Mr. Johnson is planning to flee to Hawaii, just as you predicted, Sterling reported. Maya smiled serenely, gazing out the window at the city skyline. That's fine. Let him go. Let him have one last taste of what he thinks is happiness. The departure gate at JFK will be the last paradise he ever knows. On Maya's tablet, a button to freeze all of my credit cards was waiting. But she wasn't going to press it just yet. She would wait for the most cruel, most devastating moment to plunge me into hell. Seated in my spacious first-class seat on the flight to Honolulu, I took a large gulp of premium champagne. Ha! This is the life. You really came through, Kevin. Beside me, Jessica, who had just been calling me a broke loser, was now cooing and clinging to me. The moment I showed her the wad of cash I'd produced, she had changed her tune completely. The $10,000 was my emergency stash, secret cash I'd hidden away, meant for a rainy day. That, and my platinum credit card, which should still have a massive limit. With this, I could live like a king overseas for a few weeks. That Maya, she thought she could drag me down to hell, but she failed. I looked down at the sea of clouds below and gave an imaginary middle finger. That plain woman belongs in the discount aisle at the grocery store. I'm on my way to a luxury resort with a gorgeous woman. Just thinking of her face makes me sick. M.V. Consulting. She's probably just the mistress of some rich guy who let her use his name. A high school dropout could never have any real talent. I reassured myself with these thoughts, pulling Jessica closer. That's right, honey. Forget about that old hag, Jessica whispered, nestling her head on my chest. When we get to Hawaii, you promised to buy me that new Chanel bag. Remember? Of course. Who do you think I am? I'm Kevin Johnson. Upon arriving in Honolulu, we checked into the royal suite of the most exclusive hotel. The blue ocean, the brilliant sun. There was no angry VP, no debt collectors, no FBI here. I was free. I took Jessica on a shopping spree through the luxury boutiques of Waikiki. This one, and this one, ooh, and this one is cute too. Can I get them all, Kevin? Jessica piled designer bags and jewelry on the counter. A sales clerk bowed respectfully and asked for my credit card. Here you go, I said, handing over my platinum card with a flourish. A few minutes later, the clerk's expression clouded over. I'm very sorry, sir, but we're getting a message from the card company that the transaction can— What? That's impossible. Run it again, I said, my irritation showing. The clerk tried again, but the result was the same. I'm sorry. It's still being processed as an invalid card. Do you have another form of payment? Perhaps cash? Kevin, what's going on? This is so embarrassing, Jessica hissed, her voice sharp. Relax. It must be a system error. I have other cards. I pulled out a second card, then a third, but every single one was declined, as if they were rejecting me personally. This can't be happening. I should still have plenty of credit left. Sir, I'm afraid we can't. The clerk's looks of admiration had morphed into suspicion. I fled the store in humiliation. Hey, what was that all about? You liar! I thought you had money! Jessica screamed at me in the hotel lobby. Just then, a notification pinged on my phone. It was from an unknown number, but the message attached made the blood drain from my face. Mr. Kevin Johnson, how are you enjoying the Hawaiian air? All of your bank accounts and credit cards have been temporarily frozen on suspicion of illegal asset transfer. This is only the beginning. Attached to the message was a photo. It was the original ledger for my secret slush fund. How did she get that? It was hidden deep inside a safe in my parents' house. Maya. Was it Maya? I frantically scrolled down. At the bottom of the message was another. unexpected name. P.S. Regarding your parents' debts, my firm, Silverman and Associates, has formally acquired all of them. At the request of my client, Miss Maya Vance, we will be pursuing a thorough and legally binding settlement. Silverman, the legendary attorney who took on corporate giants. A chill went down my spine. How could that plain woman have gotten a legal powerhouse like that on her side? Kevin, who is that email from? Your face is completely white, Jessica asked, looking at me suspiciously. I couldn't answer. All I knew for sure was that I had willingly walked right into a massive, invisible trap. There was no escape. The paradise of Hawaii had, in an instant, become my prison. But the real hell was yet to come. The days I would spend penniless before my flight back, and the immigration gate waiting for me on the other side. Sir, this is very difficult for us to say, but we must ask you to vacate the suite by the end of the day. The hotel manager, his smile gone, was knocking on the door of our royal suite. News that all my cards were useless had already reached the hotel staff. Wait. Please. I'm having money wired from the States tomorrow. I'm an executive at a major corporation. I'm not going to skip out on the bill, I pleaded desperately. But the manager's eyes were cold. Unfortunately, sir, we have already received information that you are no longer employed by that company. What? How did you know that? It was advisory from one of our partner firms, an asset management company. If payment is not rendered, we will have no choice but to have you removed from the premises. After the manager left, a heavy silence filled the room. Kevin, was that true? Jessica asked from the sofa, her voice a low, menacing hiss. You got fired? That's a lie, right? You're just on vacation? It's just a misunderstanding. I'll be reinstated soon. Don't lie to me, she shrieked, hurling a crystal ashtray from the coffee table. It flew past my head and shattered on the marble floor. You brought me all the way to Hawaii when you're unemployed? You have no money, no status. You're nothing but a criminal in the making. My dad told me to do this. He said, keep an eye on that man. The second he shows his true colors, you cut him loose. Jessica, you were spying on me? Of course I was. Who do you think would actually want to be with an arrogant old man with an ego problem? This is the worst. My reputation is ruined. I'm calling my dad to send the private jet for me. You can rot here for all I care. Jessica quickly packed her bags, then snatched the envelope containing the last of my $10,000 cash. Hey, that's mine. This is for my emotional distress. Payment for the pure time I wasted on a lowlife like you. Don't come near me, you filthy, broke loser. Jessica practically spat in my face before storming out of the room. I was left alone in the suite. Just hours ago, this was my kingdom. Now, it felt like a cold stone prison cell. With trembling hands, I tried calling Maya again and again. Once, twice. No answer. She didn't even read my texts. The woman who had been so submissive, who had lived to please me, was now treating my very existence with complete indifference. Maya, please, help me. You loved me, right? We were together for 10 years. Don't you have any feelings left for me? I screamed into the empty room, but the only reply was the echo of my own pathetic voice bouncing off the luxurious furniture. Just then, the hotel phone rang. Hello? Maya? No, this is the U.S. Embassy. Mr. Kevin Johnson, I have some important news for you. The official's voice was robotic, devoid of all emotion. Regarding your family home in the United States, it was repossessed today in a foreclosure proceeding. Your parents have been evicted. Furthermore, we've received an inquiry from local law enforcement here regarding suspected fraudulent wire transfers linked to your bank accounts. My parents' house. What happened to them? Your parents have been placed in a shelter operated by a charitable foundation. We are told that, at the strong request of the foundation's primary benefactor, Miss Maya Vance, Their basic needs will be met on the condition that they have absolutely no contact with their son. Maya. She even took my parents from me. No, that wasn't right. She hadn't taken them. She had saved them. She had severed them from the poison that was me. Just as I had used my monthly payments as a weapon to control them, she was now using her overwhelming financial power and compassion to place them under her protection. Mr. Johnson, one more thing. A security flag has been placed on your passport. Upon your return to the United States, you will be subject to special procedures at immigration. We strongly advise you to return peacefully. Any attempt to flee will be futile, as your personal information has been added to a global financial blacklist. The line went dead. I collapsed onto the bed, limp. A wave of dread washed over me. No money, no allies, no home to return to, and the woman I thought I knew, Maya, had become a global powerhouse behind my back. When did she become this monster? I was terrified of Maya's silence. She never yelled at me, not because she was afraid of me, but because she had judged me as not even being worth the energy to yell at. Outside, the beautiful Hawaiian sun was setting. Tomorrow, I would be thrown out of this hotel and become homeless. My only remaining option was to scrape together my last few dollars and get on the standby list for the cheapest possible flight home. Daniel K. Inouye International Airport, Honolulu. The same marble floors I had once strode across proudly as a first-class passenger. Now, I was a disheveled mess, stinking of sweat and desperation, scurrying through the terminal like a rat. After being kicked out of the hotel and robbed by Jessica, all I had left were a few dollar bills I'd hidden in my shoe and a shattered sense of pride. Please, I need to get on this flight, I begged the agent at the standby counter for a budget airline. The woman I had looked down on as a high school dropout was now a global force, and I was reduced to a homeless man sleeping on an airport bench. The irony was so staggering my brain could barely process it. Suddenly, I noticed the large screen in the terminal was showing a special report on a business news channel. Titans of Industry. The Women Moving Global Markets. The Miracle of Maya Vance. On the screen was Maya, dressed in an elegant gray silk suit, looking impossibly beautiful and dignified. No, that's not the Maya I know. I stared, mesmerized. The interviewer asked, Miss Vance, with your incredible success, why did you choose to remain out of the public eye for 10 years, living as a simple housewife? Maya answered, her voice calm but firm. I wanted to believe in someone. I wanted to see if there was a person who would love me for who I was, without my status or my wealth. So I hid my abilities, my assets, everything, and dedicated myself to supporting him. Her words were like a sharp knife twisting in my gut. But, she continued, that was a selfish fantasy. He mistook the success I created for him as his own talent. He began to treat me as a useless parasite, the stable environment I built for him, the debts I paid for him. He took it all for granted, and in the end, he threw me away. On screen, Maya gave a sad, yet liberated smile. So I decided I would teach him a lesson. I would show him his true worth. I would let him see just how powerless, just how empty he truly is in a world without me. I was speechless, staring at the screen. The tourists around me were captivated by the beautiful woman on the screen. Wow, she's amazing. They say she's one of the top investors in the country. Her husband must be an idiot to throw away a treasure like that. He must be going through hell right now. Just then, a man in a business suit standing next to me noticed me, trembling in my filthy clothes, and scowled. Hey, you're in the way. Don't just stand there looking like that. You've been shaking while looking at the screen. What? You think you know her or something? Yes. That woman. She's my wife. Just yesterday she was making my dinner and polishing my shoes. I yelled. All composure gone. The man burst out laughing. Ha ha! Give me a break, you bum. Miss Vance is a consultant to Fortune 500 companies. A total elite. There's no way a washed-up loser like you would ever be in her league. Take a look in a mirror. You look like a piece of trash with nothing to offer. Humiliation. The very words I had once thrown at Maya were now being hurled back at me by a complete stranger. I couldn't say a thing. He was right. Without Maya as my shield and my brain, I was just a worthless, aging man. The news report delivered another shocking blow. It is reported that Miss Vance, in connection with her recent divorce, has submitted evidence to the authorities detailing numerous fraudulent transactions involving her ex-husband. The fallout is expected to send shockwaves through several New York tech firms. Below the anchor, they showed a file photo of me. My face pixelated. My legs gave out and I crumpled to the floor. Maya hadn't just been content to leave me. For 10 long years, she had been silently and meticulously documenting every single one of my transgressions, all while I was preening about being a genius. Maya, you knew from the very beginning. I finally understood the meaning of her strange smile on the day of our divorce. It wasn't a smile of sadness. It was a countdown. She had already drawn up the blueprints for my destruction years ago. Just then, my name was called over the airport loudspeaker. Standby passenger for the flight to New York. Mr. Kevin Johnson, please proceed to the counter. I staggered to my feet. The FBI might be waiting for me in New York. Debt collectors would surely be there. But it was better than starving on the streets of a foreign land. I told myself this as I headed to the gate. On the jet bridge, an elegant elderly woman passed me. She glanced at me once, then shook her head sadly. Pride goeth before a fall. What a pity. Her words made me realize, for the first time, the true magnitude of what I had lost. Maya had loved me not for my status or my money, but all I had ever loved was my own reflection. As I climbed the stairs to the airplane, the bright Hawaiian sun beat down on my back. But inside my heart, there was only a bottomless, suffocating darkness. And waiting for me, the moment I landed in New York, was a final, unimaginable reckoning. The first thing that greeted me when I stepped off the plane at JFK was the biting chill of the over-air-conditioned arrivals hall and a piercing silence. I had barely slept during my days in Hawaii. The man in the reflection of the terminal windows was a stranger, with a scraggly beard and bloodshot eyes. The slick, elite director was gone without a trace. It's okay. This is America. I know the language. I have connections. I clutched my passport, my hand trembling, trying to reassure myself. But the moment I stepped up to the immigration booth, the atmosphere changed. Kevin Johnson? Sir, could you please wait over here for a moment? The officer's words were polite, but his eyes treated me not as a passenger, but as a suspect. From behind, 2 large, solidly built men approached me without a sound. What's this? Is there a problem? I'm just a citizen returning from vacation, I protested, my voice echoing unnaturally in the quiet hall. Please remain calm, Mr. Johnson, the officer said. We currently have a request from the SEC and the FBI to investigate you on suspicion of asset concealment. We also have a formal request from your ex-wife, Miss Maya Vance, for a thorough identity verification related to a civil debt default case. Maya. Her again. I don't know what she told you, but it's all lies. She's just a high school dropout trying to frame me. I yelled desperately, but the officer's face didn't flicker. A high school dropout? Sir, with all due respect, the documents submitted by Miss Vance have been vetted by a team of forensic accountants and lawyers. They are considered to have irrefutable evidentiary value. Evidence? She couldn't possibly produce something like that. On the contrary, as the president of MV Consulting, she has submitted a complete, digitized record of your financial activities for the past 10 years. This includes evidence of you using proprietary company information to manage your family's debt, as well as other personal activities. I was speechless. My mind was reeling in confusion. How? How could she know about that? That information was on a triple encrypted USB drive, hidden in a false bottom drawer in my home office desk, where no one could ever find it. Wait. The vacuum cleaner. A memory surfaced. Maya used to clean my office, meticulously, every day while I was at work. Kevin, I made sure to clean every nook and cranny for you, she would say with that placid smile. Had she been going through all my things while she was cleaning? Were my deepest secrets, which I thought were so well hidden, nothing more than items to be catalogued during her daily tidying? Mr. Johnson, our agents will take your statement in a private room. I was escorted by the two men down a dimly lit corridor into an interrogation room. A man I didn't recognize was sitting there, waiting. Well, Kevin, long time no see. Or should I say, former Director Johnson. The man looked up. When I saw his face, I nearly screamed. Miller? What are you doing here? Miller, a former subordinate at my company. I had treated him as incompetent, piling all the grunt work on him, until one day, a year ago, I personally told him, "You're fired. I'm now with the Corporate Investigations Division of MV. Consulting," he said, a confident, sharp glint in his eyes that was never there before. "Miss Vance hired me the day you fired me. When I was at my lowest point, the person who offered me a hand was the same woman you laughed at and called garbage." Miller looked at me with a gaze that showed no trace of his former fear. "You really have no eye for people, Kevin. You didn't understand your wife's true identity, and you didn't see the talent in your own team. You just sat on a throne of lies, thinking you were a king." "Shut up, Miller! Someone like you has no right to lecture me. Go tell Maya to stop this harassment. Tell her to remember the years we spent together. Tell her to show some damn compassion." I slammed my hands on the table and yelled, but Miller just shook his head with a pitiful look. "Compassion? Kevin, she gave you chances right up to the very end. Even at the moment she signed the divorce papers, she told me, if he would just apologize, truly and sincerely, I would forgive everything and continue to support him. But what did you say to her?" Miller's words replayed in my mind. "You're fired. You were nothing more than a replaceable housekeeper. A parasite." A dry, choked sound escaped my throat. With my own hands, I had turned my most powerful ally into my most terrifying executioner. "Now, Kevin, there's no time to be confused. We need to work out a plan for how you're going to spend the rest of your life paying back the $3 million in debt that Miss Vance so graciously covered for you." $3 million? What is that? I don't have any debt like that. Oh, but you do. It's the sum total of the money your parents borrowed against your future earnings, plus the corporate funds you embezzled to cover your losses in that little investment scheme of yours. Miss Vance has purchased all of that debt, which means your new owner is the most powerful investor in the world. Miss Maya Vance. My vision blurred. The world I thought I controlled had, without my knowledge, become nothing but a tiny speck in Maya's vast universe. I was just a pathetic puppet, dancing on her strings. "No, I won't accept this. Let me go. Let me go home." I started to thrash, but Miller's cold words froze me in place. "You don't have a home to go back to. Foreclosure proceedings on your condo were completed this morning. And your parents, they have been relocated to a special place prepared by Miss Vance." "A special place?" "Yes. A place you will never be able to reach." Just then, a message came through on Miller's tablet. He glanced at it, and a slight smirk touched his lips. A message from Miss Vance. It says, "Congratulations on your arrival. Welcome to the gates of hell." All the strength drained from my body, and I collapsed onto the cold floor of the interrogation room. What was going to happen now? The final act of my life was just beginning. A tragedy with no escape. The air in the room was as heavy as a vacuum. I couldn't process Miller's words, shaking my head over and over. $3 million. Maya bought the debt. That's insane. It's impossible. Miller slid a thick binder across the table. "See for yourself if it's impossible. That hedge fund you poured company money into, the one you were so sure would make you rich? Did you ever bother to find out who the majority shareholder of its parent company was?" With a trembling hand, I opened the binder. On the signature line for the chairman of the board was a name written in elegant script. Maya Vance. "What? How? And it gets better, Miller continued. That fund you were so proud of, the one you thought your genius had discovered? It was actually a giant honeypot, set up by Miss Vance herself to smoke out corrupt executives like you. The pieces of the puzzle clicked into place with a sickening finality. The mysterious broker who had approached me a year ago, Mr. Johnson, a man of your talent, could double this money. I had danced to his tune, temporarily embezzling company funds to invest, taking a kickback. You thought you were a brilliant investor, but all you were doing was taking stolen money and begging your own wife's company to take it from you. And she just sat back and quietly documented it for 10 years. 10 years? That's right. Look at this. He pushed a scrapbook-like binder toward me. From the very first day you expensed a date with Jessica as a business dinner, to your unauthorized absence in Hawaii yesterday, the date, the amount, the location, and photographic evidence. It's all here. My eyes scanned pages of photos of me with Jessica, copies of forged receipts, all meticulously organized. When did Maya find out? From the beginning. You married her because you thought her family was wealthy, didn't you? But right after the wedding, her family went bankrupt. You thought you'd picked a loser and started treating her like she was invisible. Miller's voice was a scalpel, dissecting my pride. But you had it backward. Her family's bankruptcy was a performance she staged to test your character. She wanted to see if you would still love her when she had nothing. A performance? No, that can't be true. Their house was falling apart. She played the part of your wife perfectly for 10 years. While you were berating her, laughing at her for being a dropout, and ordering her around like a servant, she was observing you, documenting just how far you would rot. And you passed her test with flying colors, the test to prove you were an irredeemable piece of trash. I nearly fell out of my chair. The 10 years I had spent preening, thinking I was supporting a useless woman, were in fact a decade-long character assessment by the Titan, Maya Vance, and I had failed in the most spectacular way possible. She didn't love you, Miller said flatly. She was calculating. She wanted to see at what point your downfall would be the most efficient, the most complete. That $3 million figure? It's been legally structured so that you can never pay it off in a lifetime, but you also won't be able to declare bankruptcy to escape it. It's a life sentence. A low groan escaped my lips. I couldn't form words anymore. Just then, Miller's phone rang. He checked the screen, said "Excuse me," and put it on speaker. Kevin, it seems you've made it back safely. It was her voice, poised, regal, and nothing like the timid wife I remembered. It was the voice of a queen. Maya, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Please, think of our 10 years together. Just tear up these papers. Our 10 years. Yes, I remember them well. If, in those 10 years, you had said thank you to me even once, perhaps I wouldn't be pressing this button today. Button? What button? The button that will pulverize the last shred of your pride. As of this moment, I have filed a motion in court to enforce the joint guarantor debt obligation related to your parents. I have also sent a copy of your slush fund ledger to Jessica's father. I imagine she'll be cut off. Even if she comes crawling back to you, you won't have a penny to your name. You two can comfort each other in the gutter. There was no anger in Maya's voice, only the cool, detached satisfaction of someone who has just disposed of some trash. Goodbye, Kevin. I sincerely hope that the rest of your life is far longer and far more painful than the lonely 10 years I spent with you. Click! The call ended. I buried my face in my shaking hands. The most devastating truth wasn't that Maya was rich. It was that for 10 years, she had never once seen me as a husband. Every single second I had spent insulting her, I had been braiding the rope for my own hanging. All right, Kevin. Time to go to our next destination, Miller said, standing up and snapping handcuffs on my wrists. Where now? To the one place you've always despised. A day labor depot. Every cent you earn will go towards repaying your debt. From today on, the word vacation no longer exists in your vocabulary. I was dragged out of the room. Through the hallway window, I could see the sky over New York, a vast, brilliant blue. It looked like a world so impossibly far away, I could never reach it again. This is my workplace? A few hours' drive from JFK, I was brought to a dusty, concrete-filled lot on the outskirts of New Jersey. The roar of heavy machinery and the shouts of rough-looking men echoed from a series of prefabricated huts. That's right. This demolition site is a partner company of MV Consulting, Miller said, shoving me hard in the back. Your job is to sort through the industrial waste and shovel sludge. It might be a little more hands-on than what the elite Director Johnson is used to. I stumbled and fell to my knees, staring at the scene before me in disbelief. My expensive Italian suit was now caked in mud. You're kidding me! I'm a graduate of an Ivy League school. I've worked on the front lines of the tech industry. I'm not doing this kind of bottom-feeder work that any moron could do. As I yelled, a large man emerged from the shadows of one of the huts. He wore a hard hat and had a towel around his neck. When I saw his face, my heart stopped. Davis? Is that you? Well, look at what we have here. If it isn't the new guy, Kevin Davis. A man from my old company, from my same starting class. He was a clumsy but honest worker, and I had looked down on him as an incompetent fool. 5 years ago, I had relentlessly blamed him for a minor mistake until he was forced to resign. Why are you here? After you got me fired. I was lost, he said, his thick arms crossed as he looked down on me with cold eyes. But the person who saved me, the person who gave me the loan to start this company, was Miss Maya Vance, she told me. One day, a man who is supremely arrogant and supremely incompetent will come here. I need you to beat him into a decent human being. Her. She was planning this even back then. A tremor of fear ran through me. Maya had been secretly gathering all the people I had cast aside, building the very cage that would one day hold me. Davis, please, for old time's sake. Let me go. I have a $3 million debt. I can never pay it off with this kind of work. You'll never pay it off? Of course you won't. This isn't a job for repayment, Davis said, grabbing my shirt and hauling me to my feet. This is penance, for you to understand the pain of all the people you've trampled on. The interest on your $3 million debt is already being automatically deducted from all your former assets and your meager future wages through legal channels set up by Miss Vance. All you'll get is 3 cheap meals a day in the mud on this site. That's slavery. It's unconstitutional. I'll sue. I thrashed, but Miller's cold voice cut in. Feel free. But you agreed to this rehabilitation program in exchange for them dropping the embezzlement charges and the lawsuit for misappropriating funds for your parents. Did you forget the papers you signed? Crying? Back in that interrogation room? I fell silent. It was true. Panicked by the threat of prison and the astronomical debt, I had signed document after document without reading them. It wasn't just a loan agreement, it was a letter of unconditional surrender, signing over my entire life to Maya. Now, let's get started, Kevin, Davis said, shoving a mud-caked shovel into my hands. First, you're going to clean out all the sludge from that drainage ditch over there. If you stop working for even a minute, you don't eat tonight. I gripped the shovel, staring at the ground. From all around, the other workers were staring, their gazes a mixture of pity and contempt. Hey, is that the elite guy? Wow. Shoveling sludge in a tie. This is gonna be fun to watch. Get to work. A hollow suit like you belongs in the mud. The same insults I had hurled at so many others were now echoing in my own ears, magnified 100 times. I couldn't say a word in response. I knew that this finely tuned system would only crush me further if I resisted. With every scoop of sludge, a sharp pain shot through my back. Blisters formed on my hands. Black grime filled the space under my fingernails. My brilliant career. My $250,000 salary. My glamorous life with Jessica. I felt it all being washed away with the foul water in the ditch. Suddenly, I saw Maya's face on an old TV in the workers' break area. She was at an international economic forum, giving a speech in fluent, eloquent English to a room full of world leaders. True wealth, she was saying, is that which is used to protect those you are meant to care for. On the screen, Maya looked like a goddess, radiating a powerful brilliance I had never seen before. The moment I saw her, something hot welled up in my eyes. Was it regret? Or was it the despair of finally understanding the magnitude of what I had lost? Maya, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I fell to my knees in the mud, and for the first time, I acknowledged my own emptiness and wept, but Davis's merciless voice boomed across the yard. If you've got time to cry, you've got time to work, Kevin. Those tears of yours aren't worth a single cent, from the one who rules to the one who is ruled. From a godlike wife to an insect crawling in the mud, my true hell had only just begun. Epilogue. As I stood there, covered in mud, using my shovel as a crutch just to stay upright, a sleek black limousine pulled up, its silent arrival and overwhelming presence bringing the raucous noise of the construction site to a sudden halt. A strangled gasp escaped my lips, the rear door opened, and a woman stepped out. She wore a perfectly tailored white pantsuit and a necklace of large, lustrous pearls. The plain, mousy Maya was gone. In her place stood Maya Vance, the consummate global investor. She glanced at me, her mud-caked ex-husband, and stopped a few feet away, as if to avoid being soiled. Her eyes were colder and more lifeless than if she were looking at a stone on the ground. Kevin, it's been a month. That look suits you. Maya's voice cut through the dry air. I immediately dropped to the ground, prostrating myself. My pride, my ego. I threw it all away and tried to crawl toward her, to cling to her expensive shoes. Maya, I was wrong. I was a fool. Please get me out of here. I'll do anything. I'll lick your boots. Just give me another chance. We were married, remember? Maya watched my pathetic display without a single flicker of emotion. A chance? Oh, I gave you chances every single day for 10 years. A chance to say a kind word to me, a chance to realize that your success was not your own. She took an envelope from her handbag and tossed it onto the ground in front of me. This is a gift from your former mistress, Jessica. Take a look. With trembling hands, I opened it. Inside were photos of Jessica, looking happy with another man, and a short note. Kevin, my dad was about to disown me, but Miss Vance saved me. I'm starting over now, working at one of her subsidiary companies. Being involved with an incompetent loser like you was the biggest mistake of my life. Oh, and about the cancellation fees for Hawaii? Miss Vance paid them for me, so you can spend the rest of your life paying her back. Bye, thief. Even Jessica is learning to stand on her own 2 feet now that she's lost her host, Maya said coolly. I also have a message from your parents. She took out her phone and played a video. On the screen were my parents, looking peaceful and smiling in a clean, simple facility. Kevin, my father's voice said, we're okay now. Maya has taken care of everything. You need to atone for your sins with your own body. Goodbye. Don't try to find us. I screamed. No, Dad, Mom, don't abandon me. You were the one who abandoned them, Kevin. Maya's voice cut like a whip. You used your monthly payments not to help them, but to bind them to you with the chains of debt and dependency. I stopped those payments to free them from your control. They are now living a quiet, dignified life at my charitable foundation, earning their own way. Maya took a step closer. Standing over me in the mud, she looked like an angel of judgment, descended into hell. Do you remember, Kevin? The words you said to me? Don't you dare think you can keep living this life on my dime, you useless stay-at-home wife. You're fired. She recited my hateful words with perfect, cruel accuracy. And now, I return those words to you. Kevin Johnson, as of today, you are permanently fired from the charity case that was my mercy. From now on, you will work the bottom feeder job you so despised. You will learn the weight of every single penny as you spend an eternity paying back your debt to me. Wait, Maya. Oh, and one more thing, she added. That flag on your passport at JFK? Did you ever find out what it really meant? My eyes widened as I looked up at her. It wasn't just for an asset freeze. It was a flag for suspected corporate espionage for attempting to sell my company's proprietary information to a foreign fund. Do you see the police cars surrounding this site? I looked up, and for the first time, I noticed several police cars, their lights off, had silently surrounded the entrance to the yard. The police? There will be no parole. The amount you embezzled was far too large. But don't worry, she said with a chilling smile as she turned and walked back to her limousine. My debt collection team will be waiting for you, even in prison. Goodbye, Kevin Johnson. May the illusion you loved so much your elite status crush you, and may you sleep in the mud for the rest of your life. The car door closed, and the limousine pulled away. I could only lie in the mud, watching its taillights disappear. From behind me, the footsteps of police officers approached, sounding like the footsteps of the Grim Reaper. Kevin Johnson? You're under arrest. Cold steel clicked around my wrists. In that instant, my pride, my future, and the last tiny flicker of hope I had left all shattered into dust. Maya, my scream echoed uselessly across the dusky construction site. Heard by no one, absorbed by the cold, indifferent mud. 1 year later, a year has passed. Outside my window, a beautiful garden is bathed in the soft afternoon light. Here, in a quiet estate far from the chaos of the city, I sip a warm, fragrant herbal tea. It's nothing like the cheap tea bags I used to use, but what sustains me now isn't the luxury itself. It's the unshakable confidence that comes from standing on my own 2 feet, with the power to protect others by my own will. Miss Vance. Excuse me. I have this month's report for the foundation. Miller, my chief of staff, knocks and enters. He looks nothing like the timid man who once cowered under Kevin. He is confident. His face bright with purpose. Thank you, Miller. How is the new scholarship fund? The board has approved grants for 50 young people who were forced to drop out of school due to family circumstances. They were all in tears. They said they want to grow up to be strong. Like you. Hearing his report, a genuine warmth fills my chest. I think of my former self mocked as a dropout, forced to give up on my dreams, called a useless parasite for a decade. It was because of those dark days that I can now prove to young people in the same situation that they have the power to change their own futures. My past is no longer a scar I want to hide. It is the source of my strength to help others. And regarding Kevin Johnson, Miller continues, his voice a little lower. He is currently serving his sentence in a federal prison. Apparently, he tried to maintain his arrogant attitude with the other inmates at first, but now he's completely broken. They say he doesn't speak a word. He just trembles whenever he receives the updated statement of his debt. I place my teacup down. I don't know what Kevin is thinking now, or how much loneliness he feels as he contemplates the weight of his own words inside a cold cell. I don't need to know. Silence that was the greatest and final punishment I could give him. Not to argue, not to curse him, but to completely and utterly erase his existence from my life. I knew from the beginning that for a man as arrogant as him, that would be the most unbearable humiliation of all. Maya! A cheerful voice calls from the garden. I open the window and see Kevin's parents, smiling peacefully. They now help with the gardening at the retirement community my foundation runs. They, too, have cast off their old lives of vanity and debt, and in the past year have found joy in working with their hands, feeling the sun and the soil. Maya, look, the roses your father-in-law planted have bloomed so beautifully, his mother says, holding out a single, perfect crimson rose to me. Thank you. It's a magnificent color, I say, accepting the flower. We never speak of Kevin anymore. We have chosen a new kind of family. One built not on blood, but on a shared commitment to living honestly. My gaze falls on a photograph on the corner of my desk. It's not a picture from Hawaii, but a shot of me from behind, taken right after the divorce, looking out at the horizon on a quiet, unnamed American beach. In that moment, I had nothing, no husband, no home, no status. But in my heart, I had a freedom and a hope that no one could ever take away. Miss Vance, it's time. The lecture for the Young Investors program is about to begin. Yes, let's go. I stand up and check my reflection in the mirror. The woman looking back at me is no longer a shadow, smiling to please someone else. She is the protagonist of her own life, looking forward with unwavering confidence. Kevin, thank you for firing me. Because of you, I found my true self. Thank you for looking down on me as plain and incompetent. Because of you, I never stopped striving to shine brighter than anyone else. For that ironic gift, I can now, from the bottom of my heart, be grateful. I turn off the lights in my study. From this day forward, your shadow will never again fall upon my path. I will use my strength to bring happiness to many more people. That is the continuation of my dazzling revenge against the man who spent a decade insulting me. Goodbye, my past, I whisper, and with a light step, I leave the room. Outside, a clear blue sky stretches to the horizon. A new wind is at my back, pushing me gently, but forcefully, forward.